Hello, my fellow Alaskans. Late breaking news coming to you live right now. We are in Anchorage, Alaska at an undisclosed location. I'm pretty sure you all can tell by the scenery around us which location we are at. There is about 24 vehicles here that are a part of this caravan. This caravan is on its way to go and visit our acting mayor, Quinn-Davidson's house, and go let her know how we feel about the lockdowns that are going on. These are the vehicles that are here out in front. They're lining up here over to my left and keep right on going. And there's more even further back behind. And this is a big bunch of people that got together and decided that we want to just go and drive by Austin Quinn-Davidson's, acting mayor Quinn-Davidson's house today and let her know what we think of these Draconian Socialistic Dictator lockdowns that they have our city down and under, and just to give them a good idea of it, what we feel about what they're doing. Only opening us up 25% here on the 1st. It's a little too late to get a hold of anything that has to do with Christmas. Too late to capitalize anything for New Year's. January 1st is when they plan on allowing us to open back up. We met together in an undisclosed location. Again, there's about 24 of us all together. And we're heading out right now to Austin Quinn-Davidson, acting mayor Quinn-Davidson's house. We're going to go do a drive around circle around her location. Don't forget to like and share this, folks. And again, this is breaking news. This is APD was called. They found out about this happening today, and they were called. And so that means that the acting mayor, I'm pretty sure, already knows that we're on our way to come visit her household tonight to let her know what we think about these draconian lockdowns. Unlike what you see happening in the lower 48, we are Alaskans. We do things the right way, and we're just going to be driving around and letting her neighbors know what we think about her. And so don't forget, like and share. Tell all your friends. Currently driving down Northern Lights Boulevard, heading towards Austin Quinn-Davidson's household. And again, we're going to go make a couple of loops around her location of her house. There's a couple of dozen of us that are involved in this caravan heading out there right now. And just for all of you wondering, this is an Alaskan thing. This is Alaskans standing up for other Alaskans. We're tired of these draconian socialistic dictator lockdowns that are based upon unscientific revelations of their own, saying that we must lock down all businesses. They can't go inside, but you can have a couple hundred people inside Walmart, but you can't have 6 people inside of a restaurant to go eat. Just too dangerous for them to do that. Yet we're not seeing any cluster breakouts happening from restaurants, so that we've been told. And nothing that is declaring why they have these lockdowns happening to begin with. They won't give us no empirical, like we say, evidence to back up their draconian measures or why they're only allowing 25% to be reopened back up. The spreading of this virus isn't happening at these businesses that are been locked down since March. Is now being locked down, been completely bankrupt and no longer going to be in business. They shut their doors forever. Again, there's about 24 of us all together that got together. We're just going to go and do a drive-by Austin Quinn-Davidson's household and let her know what we Alaskans think. APD was called. They said as long as we don't create a disturbance within the neighborhood, we're fine to do what we are doing. We do have another undisclosed location that we are going to head to after this. I won't let you know where that is until further into this, when it gets time to actually head that location. I'm currently heading down Northern Lights, just about ready to pass past Minnesota. Probably pissing a lot of people off behind me, wondering why I'm parked so far behind all these other vehicles to my left. Well, those vehicles to my left are the ones that are a part of this caravan. A couple of dozen people that are involved with this right now. And we're going to go and drive by the acting mayor, socialistic dictator, Quinn-Davidson's household today and go let her know what us Alaskans think about this 25% reopening the day after New Year's. Does not do anything to help these struggling businesses survive what's going on. It's just a token showdown. They, again, will probably somewhere down the road just relock things back down and blame it all on the restaurants for causing this to happen. If you're just tuning in, don't forget to like and share. Facebook squeals on you if you don't, especially if you comment. I know if you're a sharer on this video. Again, there's a couple of dozen of us that are involved in this caravan. I got about 6 of them in front of me right now. Got another dozen or so behind me. We've got people from all over Anchorage that put this together today. Somebody leaked it to the press, and it was on the Bacaro show a little while earlier, I believe. And the word got out that this was occurring. It was supposed to be a private event that no one was supposed to know about. And so the mayor has been pre-forewarned this is happening. So has APD. APD met us at the meetup place. So, and wanted to make sure that they knew that we knew that they knew. And to just give us all a subtle warning on what we're allowed to and not allowed to do. They're not against us doing this at all. In fact, they understand why we're doing it. They're very supportive. As they have been with all the protests that have happened within our state. They're not here to interfere. They're just here to make sure that we follow the laws. So just about ready to pass, I believe, Turnagain here. And we're on Northern Lights. Yep, Turnagain, just passed it. Turnagain in Wisconsin. And we're heading towards where we're going to be turning off at to go into the acting mayor, Quinn-Davidson's where she lives at. And I'm hoping I don't miss the turn where I'm supposed to turn at. I got a pretty good idea where this is at. The group, you can see them there quite a bit out there in front of me right now. There's the turn signals. We're turning left here on Arrow Street. A-E-R-O, just for those that may be interested in how it is spelled. Arrow Street is where our mayor supposedly lives somewhere off of. And now turning off into the neighborhood. And once you get onto Arrow Street, you make the first immediate right. And I'm not going to give any more directions to get to the household there. Just follow me around on this, and you'll, if you feel like going by and just giving a friendly honk every now and then to let our mayor, acting mayor, know how we feel about these mandates, you can just let them know. We are here in the neighborhood now, just about ready to move on forward. We got some nice streaming lights getting put on up in front of us up there. You can see the gumballs. Hopefully I won't lose connection. It looks like I'm getting a real weak cell connection going through here. Just flashed up, retry to reconnect. Do apologize if I lose connection. I will, if I do, I will immediately restart right back up again. We're going to be driving by Quinn-Davidson, acting mayor, the socialistic dictator who took over for the ex-socialist dictator, Mayor Ethan Berkowitz, the alleged pedophile, definitely messing around with his mistress, sending pornographic pictures off to her, which caused him to resign. I did a nice little post about it yesterday, refreshing everybody's memory. And we are currently on the road that Austin lives on. It's going to be one of these houses off to our left. I believe it's right about here. Don't know if you can hear their horns blowing, but they're definitely letting her know how we feel. I believe that's the mayor's house right over there.
What's going on?
Out visiting the acting mayor.
So quiet it down. You're bothering me.
Will do. Got a concerned neighbor coming out here complaining that made just a little bit too much noise. I'm going to hang out right here for just a moment. We got a Karen over here at that neighbor right there. A little upset. I guess we got a little bit too noisy for them here. Got another Karen out there on the corner. Just had to come out and see what was going on to see who's blowing their horns. They're going to come back around here in just a moment. Again, there's about 24 vehicles altogether, or a dozen vehicles, somewhere in there that showed up. We're doing a little drive-by Austin Quinn-Davidson's household to let her know what we think about these draconian socialistic lockdowns that they had given. As you can see by the lit up houses, that definitely the one that I believe is not lit up right there, that is darkest out of all the houses down this street, that is where the mayor lives at. I believe that's the right location. Don't quote me on that, though. I just know that's where they just did their stop by. APD came and met us where we were all met up at earlier today. She was definitely not happy about it, and APD was trying to let us know that to keep things peaceful, try to keep the noise down. Too many complaints come from the neighbors. They're just going to call the police on us and have us told that, maybe get a citation for a noise ordinance for being too loud. I'm just hanging out here. They're doing one more loop, and I just wanted to catch them all coming back on through. And look, it looks like I got a Karen neighbor over here that is wanting to see what is going on. Here comes the caravan once again. The Karen neighbor out there taking videos of everybody that is driving by, wanting to make sure they get their license plate numbers. Now he's going to come over and get my license plate number. Hey, where's your mask? Social distancing. All right, glad you got a good funny mask going on there.
That's important. This is a neighborhood.
It is.
This is all public property, obviously, but we are all people who are just trying to live our lives. So this shit's really unnecessary. Anybody here is living their life. They're not politicians while they're in the neighborhood. You think you got their neighborhood figured out, but you don't. You're just people, man.
I know you're just people. Not everybody in this neighborhood is just people, though.
Harassing everybody in this neighborhood.
I'm not harassing nobody. I'm just live streaming what's going on.
Yeah, well, you're live streaming harassment.
No, I'm live streaming people exercising their First Amendment rights.
Well, no, it may be First Amendment rights, but at some point it becomes harassment.
It is if they were sitting there throwing eggs or standing out in front of their place, but
Breaking noise ordinance.
you can do if they are breaking noise ordinance. You can call APD. You can have them come out. You can see about getting them removed, having them arrested. APD, I'm sure, would be more than happy to show up on out here and to come rectify whatever problems you may be having.
Well, we are. So thank you for adding to that. But Happy New Year.
Hey, yeah, Happy New Year. You have yourself a great week. All right, that was beautiful. Thank you all for participating in 20 questions. Yeah, there is no noise ordinance that does start at 10 p.m. This is kind of a ridiculous long shot on their part. Myself, I'm going to go and roll to the next location that they have going on for this. And I believe that was the last group that came through. Oh, no, they're still going to come through one more time. All right. I'll just go on back. I was told of only a couple times that they were going to show up out here. What are you doing? Get the hell out of the middle of the road! Hey, First Amendment rights, man! You're blocking plug property here. Hey, we got families to feed. What are you doing to help them? We got businesses being bankrupt. What are you doing to help them? Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Dumb idiots like you have got to go! Oh, sorry, I couldn't help myself. Morons are us, man. Concerned neighbors. Hey, I bet you not a single one of these people have had to worry about a missed paycheck, considering most of them that live in this neighborhood work for the unions, work for the school district, mayors. Boy, that was interesting. Gotta love these snowflakes. All right, we were just visiting Austin, the Socialist Dictator Austin Quinn-Davidson's household there. Her neighbors are more concerned about the noise that was being made and their poor children who can't get no sleep at 7 o'clock at night. And then they are worried about... Then they are worried about actual the lockdowns that are going on, the people that have lost their jobs. They obviously don't give much of a care about any of that. Heading out to Earthquake Park. Wrong way, wrong direction. All right, now I'm heading back the correct way. That's what happens when I keep thinking I made a right when I came into the neighborhood. I actually made a left. All right, heading back to Draconian Elementary School. I was wondering why I hadn't found it yet. I knew it was just right around the corner. Thank God they're planning on sitting there just for a little bit. We just got done doing a loop-de-loop around the Socialist Dictator Austin Quinn-Davidson's house there. Her concerned Karen neighbors all came out and had something to say. It was very peaceful. Only a little bit of horn honking. The neighbors were more upset that we were interrupting their prime time wine teetotaling time there in the neighborhood than they were actually about what had just happened. We're in front of the street that you would have turned on to go to get to where she lives at. And now we're heading on back to Draconian Elementary School. Will be our next meetup destination where we're all going to group back together. Hopefully they're still hanging out there waiting on me to arrive. Most of them know that I'm live streaming this as we go. Ivan, I don't know where the next destination is after this. They've kept it a secret. Did it on purpose. Oh no. It looks like they have left the elementary school already. I'm going to do one quick Yui. Saw a bunch of vehicles parked in the back area there. That might have been them. If it's not them, it's at least it was worth a chance stopping by. I may end up having to stop this and call and find out exactly where they've moved off to next. But I do see a couple of vehicles back over here. Well, that would explain some of the things that I was wondering what was going on. APD has the school completely locked down over here. So this is where the meetup was going to be, was at the school. So it really makes you wonder who's letting them know where everybody is at. There's over a dozen vehicles here. And they got heads up that that this is where we were supposed to go to next. And I'm doing a quick look up here. Making a quick phone call. APD is here. We're at the Draconian Elementary where we were supposed to meet up at. Hey, Politadick. Hey, where'd you guys go head off to? Back to the first place. Okay, because the other first place you had mentioned had APD sitting there in record numbers. I was shocked. I just got done live streaming a little bit of that to them. We're live right now, so I am just left that location, and I'll head to where you are now, just so you know. Oh, every neighbor called 911? Okay, I should be there here real shortly. I'll give my live audience an update on what has occurred so far. I will see you here in about 5, maybe just a few more minutes thereafter. All right. All right, news update. One of the people that had put this thing together here today has already received another phone call from APD to let them be notified that they have had the police department called multiple times by the neighbors. Hell, I'm just trying to get off of this rut that I'm in just so I can get around this traffic here. Traffic accident in the middle of the road. All right, I got out of the one traffic jam. All right, APD was called. That was why the record number of troopers was sitting there at the Turnigan Elementary School. They were congealing up to go do another drive through the Austin neighborhood, Austin Quinn-Davidson, in case the group had decided to go through again. Every single neighbor, you know, all the Karens that you saw sitting outside, jumping in front of the vehicles, running their cameras, making sure every license plate was recorded so that they can turn us all into APD, who already knew we were on our way to come there in the first place. Came up and challenged me. How dare you get so noisy? We've got children. Think about our children. I'm going, you know, think about the children of all the people that are in this caravan. Think of all the children out there whose moms and dads are trying to explain to them why their decades-old businesses are now bankrupt and they're having to go stand in food lines to be able to feed their kids. Explain that. That's what I would like those Karens that were out in the middle of the street to explain to all those kids out there. If they got kids, I'd like them to explain to the other parents' kids, because they certainly don't care about them. We are Alaskans, standing up for Alaskans. We currently were just left the Socialist Dictator, acting mayor, Austin Quinn-Davidson's neighborhood, honking their horns, speaking into a bullhorn in front of her house there. The Karen neighbors had to come out. About a good 4 or 5 of them all decided to come on out, jumping in front of the vehicles, acting like they were all wear something. I'd love to name how many of those that came out and complained about our little drive-around circle that was maybe a dozen or so vehicles there, was such a causing harm to them in one bit. How many of those folks have missed a single paycheck? How many of those folks whose businesses have been closed down? Odds are not a single one of them. They haven't missed a paycheck. They haven't missed a meal. They were able to put tons of presents under the Christmas trees for their kids. I'd love to tell those kids why their table 6 got closed down. I would love to put them in front of them and have them explain how our little disobedience compares to what that did. And you can also throw out there, how about the Perfect Cup? 22 years in business in the Diamond Center, completely shut down. I mean, the list of businesses we've got, that the Lamex has been shut down. The 6 full restaurants that got closed down here in Anchorage. The list is endless for how many people that have suffered because of their draconian lockdowns that are unscientifically based. They can't give us any evidence why closing down our businesses is saving people's lives, yet it's okay to go and get your nose or your ears pierced. You can go and get haircuts, but you can't go get a meal anywhere. can't go get a drink anywhere. It's statistically, going by the CDC, and this is their own numbers, approximately 45 people per 100,000 population commit suicide every year in Alaska. If you crunch the numbers with a population of 700,000 people, that's 315 people that commit suicide every single year. That's 315 people that have committed suicide already this year. They're trying to say the numbers on that has not grown statistically from the year before or the year before that just because of this pandemic. But they have openly admitted that people overdosing and dying from overdoses has increased. That number is statistically just under the amount of suicides, depending on the year, can be over the amount of suicides that happen here every single year. Why are more people dying from overdoses this year? Because the drug trade has been squashed because of no travel. Nobody's able to smuggle the drugs in as easily as they used to be able to do. So now they're cutting these drugs with fentanyl, which is 10 times more deadly, 100 times more deadly than the drugs they were getting before, and it's causing people to overdose in record numbers. So, all right, I'm back to our first destination that all of this started from. I'm here at the Northern Lights, and undisclosed location for those of you that know where most people show up here in Northern Lights, and here to let our socialist dictator mayor know how we feel about these draconian measures and lockdowns that they have. I have caught back up with what is remaining of our group. Hopefully all of them, this is not where we were supposed to come back to, so hopefully all of them grouped back together again. It does look like most of them have joined back in again together here to move to the next destination and location. This is about as close as I'm going to get to the group. I don't want to show faces on this video. They're looking for every excuse to come after anybody that goes against their socialistic dictator mandates that they have out here in Alaska. It looks like just about everybody has made it back to the beginning destination that this all started from in the beginning. And our meetup location was supposed to be at the Turnigan Elementary School. You all saw here just a little bit ago that they had a half dozen or so APDs sitting there in the parking lot of that parking lot. Every Karen neighbor of the socialist dictator Austin Quinn-Davidson was sitting there outside, jumping in front of the vehicles, running their own cameras, trying to stop people from driving around the circles, crying about their poor kids who were trying to sleep at 7 o'clock at night. Yeah, I'm sorry, even if you have a baby, I do not have sympathy for you. For the little bit of interruption of noise in the area was far less than compared to the interruption and destruction that they have done here in the state of Alaska with these socialist dictator mandates and lockdowns that they have imposed upon our city. It is unbelievable. I am here waiting now for them to move off to the next destination location. I assure you we are going to go and visit an assembly member next. I lied just a bit ago. I do know where we are heading next, but because APD may be watching this video right now, I am not going to disclose where the next location is going to be at or where we're going to be heading to next. But if you saw by the video where we are currently sitting at, this is the second meetup point. I would like to thank all of my followers out there for going to my website at Politadick.com and clicking that donate button. Thanks to your donations, it's made it available for me to be able to be out here doing this. It gave me the ability to pick up a brand new phone just for Politadick. Politadick has their own phone line. You can find the phone number at the top of our page. If you're interested in calling, leaving a text message, anything works. I'm easy to get a hold of now. And since I now have two cell phones to use, one that's my own personal and one for Politadick, I was able to make a quick phone call and find out where everybody was meeting at next. It was your donations that made that happen, so thank you. Keep them coming. every penny goes right back into expanding our content here on Politadick, making sure that we keep upgrading our equipment. Studio has had a major facelift. It's coming along nicely. Been working on it over this holiday break. Again, we're here doing the second round meetup for the next stage of this protest that's going on tonight. We have one more location that we're going to go drive to and do a circle around and go give the same heartwarming welcome that we just received at Socialist Dictator Austin Quinn-Davidson's house here just a little bit ago. At the next location, I doubt we'll get as heartwarming of a welcoming as we did from the neighbors there from the good old mayor's location. I'm sure that she would like to think otherwise. I'm going to step out of the vehicle here for just a second to find out what's going on. All right, just verifying our next location. It is where I think it's going to be at. I would disclose where it is, but APD is hot on our tail. They can try to figure out where we're heading next. By all means, they can happily come behind us. I'll announce where we are when we get there so that everybody in the audience knows which assembly member we decided to go visit next. And we're just letting these folks know. I mean, the bottom line is the small little disruption that we're causing within their neighborhoods tonight is nothing compared to the disruption that they have caused in our state for the last 10 months with these socialistic draconian lockdowns that they've imposed upon our city. I can't name how many businesses that have gone out of business. I mean, I know of over a dozen or 2 dozen actually that have completely shut down. That's just within the Anchorage area alone. If I take my southeast corridor, which includes Seward, Homer, Kenai, Soldotna, and across the bay down to Kodiak, and the numbers increase. I know of at least 50 businesses that have closed their doors permanently and will never be in business again. And these are my customers. This is where I make my living from. And to know that they're no longer going to be here anymore. So the small little disruption that they caused, it was just pointed out to me that those that were jumping out in front of the vehicles, hopefully I got some clear video of them doing this, which households they came walking out of. What they did was illegal. Impeding the traffic out there in the middle of the road, jumping in front of vehicles like that is illegal. We have not done anything wrong. There is nothing that we as our group have done that is illegal. Everything is above board. We are exercising our First Amendment rights. We're wearing our seatbelts. We're obeying the laws. We're following the traffic laws. APD, when they called the one of the group leaders here about what was going on, and letting them know that the 911 board was lighting up for that area. He wanted to let them know about the accident that you saw me stream by as we drove by it. And that accident, they didn't even know about the accident. They were more concerned about the disruption that was happening in the neighborhood. But we're very thankful that someone let them know about the accident that was there on the highway. They were appreciative of that. So APD was tipped off about this happening before it even got started tonight. They were sitting here and let them know that they were not allowed to go, that they were not going to stop anything that was about ready to happen, but to let them know that they knew this was going on. Don't forget to like and share this video. Facebook squeals on you if you don't. I think we've all been drinking Coronas for the last 10 months. You know, the coronavirus. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, bad joke. Damn China virus, the one that has a 99.7% survival rate nationwide. We've had more suicides and overdose deaths happen in our state by almost triple compared to what we have lost because of the COVID-19 virus. Yet they won't show those statistics or numbers. They won't give those out to us because they don't want Alaskans to realize that we are losing more of our youth to suicides and drug overdoses right now than we have lost to the virus, than we have lost of those at-risk people. Many of those that have died that are in the at-risk category were already in hospitals, were already on their last terms in life, that already made peace with where they were heading to long before this virus ever came about. I'm sure you've seen the sick joke that's going around out there about the bomber in Nashville, that the bomb exploded and he died of the bomb, but they reported his death as being a COVID-19 virus. I know it's a joke, but they've actually got PolitiFact out there has had to give a PolitiFact fact check on that one because of the joke that's going around. They just can't seem to understand there are such things as jokes. They may be tasteless, but they are jokes. All right, we are heading out to the next location. Everybody is starting to move right on out in the caravan here. And I'm going to jump in about midway like I did the last time. Everybody that's in front of me right now is a part of this caravan. Got about another half dozen off to that'll be just behind me on this trek heading out right now. We're moving to destination number 2. We're heading out to an assembly member's household sitting in another part of town. Currently back out on the Northern Lights Boulevard right now. Heading to destination number 2, undisclosed to the public, because we're sure APD is watching my live feed at this point. Would not be surprised that they are on right now, making sure that we are trying to keep our noses clean and staying out of trouble. And as with most things that go on with these type of events, I know where our next destination is. I'll let you know which assembly member it is once we get into the neighborhood. Let another one of our group get in front here. And tonight I'm just with a bunch of Alaskans, got all together, been communicating behind the scenes, wanted to go around and let our socialist dictator, acting mayor, Austin Quinn-Davidson, excuse me, know how we feel about these lockdowns that they have imposed upon our city. I'm just relatively trying to keep up with at least one person that knows where we're heading. There's about a half dozen already up ahead of me, about another half dozen that are behind me. Just a bunch of Alaskans got together. We're tired of these draconian socialistic dictatorship lockdowns that our city has been. Yeah, that cough is being taken care of. Thank you. Already saw a doctor about it. Yes, you did see Walmart somewhere back there in the back somewhere. All right, we're moving right along right now. We're heading towards the next destination. We're heading towards the downtown district, wherever that may lead us to next. I don't do well when I get in and out of dry to cold environments. My nose is finally freeing back up again after the last job I was at. They had so much hand sanitizer, and someone who thought that perfume was meant to be poured on, not dabbed on. Finally freeing my sinuses back up again. It's hard to breathe. Being allergic to everything that has perfumes in it has been a real curse my entire life. And we are currently off to destination number 2. Bunch of Alaskans got together, decided that we're tired of these draconian lockdowns that we have been locked underneath for the last 10 months. Hundreds of thousands of businesses that have been people that have lost their jobs, losing their homes, lost their vehicles, won't have a place to rent once they release the landlords for being able to do evictions. We know that is only just a short time away from that occurring again. There are so many people out there that have not paid their rent since day one. They just can't do it. I mean, if you haven't worked in the last 10 months because you no more than get your job back and then get refired again because of another lockdown, whatever money you do have in the bank, you're using it to buy groceries so you have food to eat. What's more important, pay your rent or have something to eat? To watch businesses like Peggy's Cafe get shut down, the announcement of that Peggy's Restaurant getting shut down, that made me want to cry when I read that. 60 years in business. And if you're familiar with the roads where we are heading, I am now currently rolling out of downtown and heading into some place ahead of me here that I am not going to disclose. If APD is going to have to watch where the road signs are to know exactly where we're heading. There are about a dozen of us Alaskans. We're just tired of it. We really are. I mean, personally, I don't know if I'm going to be doing what I do right now by next summer. Enough of the businesses I service have been closed forever. If it hasn't been for some of those out there that have gotten the PPE loans and are spending it on things they're not supposed to be spending it on, I probably still wouldn't be in business right now. Customers that have been my customers for 2 decades are no longer my customers because they're no longer in business. And I'm sure you may have already caught what the Socialist Dictator Quinn-Davidson had to say earlier, that January 1st, through the graciousness of their own heart, they're going to reopen up Anchorage once again to 25% capacity. So those that had enough space in their business to be able to house 10 people, I think I lost the group I was with. But I am good at what I do. All right, take a drink of coffee. All this talking has got my throat pretty dry. Yes, I found the right location to stop at. All right, those that have been following where we are, you probably know the gas station, the quick stop here, stop and go that I am currently at right at this moment. Hopefully I won't lose connection too many times. You can see the subway there across the street. We're all kind of grouped back up again. Looks like everybody's just about made it. We're here in a certain undisclosed location and about ready to head to the next assembly member's household. This assembly member is most deserving of people here in Alaska. He has called us all racist. He has called us all the chump train. For those people that may have been a part of this group that's been out on the corner protesting, yes, we're the chump train. We're the racists that keep going against their socialist dictatorship amendments. We're the folks that show up to every assembly meeting. We're the folks that show up outside of the Lusac Library throughout all of these draconian lockdowns when they kept us locked out of the mandates. Kept us illegally locked out of the assembly meetings. Alaskans for opening Alaska back up again. This is probably the most amount of cars that they have ever seen here at the parking lot that have shown up here tonight. So again, we're here at the next undisclosed location.
APD already knows where we're at. We're following your page.
I haven't told them any. I haven't said where we're going.
Okay. Well, there's
They
a pretty
didn't.
good presence over here already, from what I'm hearing.
Okay. Well, yeah. I have yet to disclose where we're at, where we were heading to next.
Okay.
So everybody, APD has already shown up here. Just for those that are keeping an ear out, listening to this right now. They already figured out where our next destination was to be at. I'm pretty sure APD is currently sitting at every assembly member's house except for two. There's only two assembly members that honestly we probably would never visit.
Right. Well, let me get with everybody and make sure that they still want to go through with it.
We're here. All right, I guess there's no sense in hiding it anymore. We're going to Chris Constant, Assemblyman Chris Constant's location. Just got told APD already knows we're on our way there. They're already out there waiting for us to come rolling through the neighborhood, hoping that maybe we might break a law or two. We're not here to do that tonight. We're here to just let them know that we're tired of the lockdowns. Let them know Alaskans aren't going to sit down quiet against this anymore. Exactly. There are no laws against driving on public streets. And, if it wasn't for the jerk in front of me that I got to blow my horn at for slowing down, hint, hint, hint to anybody that's a part of this caravan, I'm blowing my horn because of the guy in front of me that's going so slow. Yes, we have someone ratting us out to the police. And like I said, I've been keeping quiet here on my channel, making sure they don't know where we're going. I did not announce this on my page at all, that this was even happening, until I went live, other than to watch for the breaking video was the only announcement that I had given. I know that they watch my page. I know APD watches my page. They have been watching my stuff because I'm always in the middle of just about every protest that goes on in this state. Whether it be from Black Lives Matters to Blue Lives Matters to All Lives Matters to Anchorage Lives Matters to making sure Anchorage decides that it can survive this virus and the draconian lockdowns. I have always been in the middle of what is going on out there, making sure to keep you Alaskans informed and up to date and always on top of what is going on in our great state of Alaska. It's unfortunate that someone is reporting to them where we are going. Like I said, if for them to have already gotten out here, they have pre-set up to make sure that they are sitting at every assembly member, every mayor's household, so that they know where we're all going to be at, whether we show up there or not. They're already prepped and prepared for us. That's why we're making sure we don't break the law. We're following the law. Like us, share us. Don't forget to follow. Go to my website, Politadick.com. Click that donate button. All proceeds, make sure that I can afford to make it to more of these. This wonderful camera that has awesome night vision has been due to your donations. Without it, we probably would be getting really grainy, dark pictures coming through. So what's the consensus? We heading out?
Well, we're still trying to decide. I guess there are a couple cops that drove by, so they probably already know we're over here. Have you mentioned anything about where we're headed at all?
Not at all. Well, other than being here and him already telling me the police are sitting there, there's no point in keeping that hidden anymore if they're already
That's
sitting there.
Right there.
I mean, but as for us heading here, I didn't say a word.
Okay.
We're either the first lowest or second lowest in the nation for COVID cases, both for how many have died and for how many have contracted the disease or the virus itself. Again, you look at the statistics from the CDC. Go and look up at their website for the amount of suicides. They go up to 2018. They average approximately 45 people per 100,000 population that commit suicide in our state every year. You do the math, that's 315 people a year commit suicide in our state. That's how many have committed suicide here just this year alone, going by their statistics provided. That's more people than we've lost from COVID. That's our youth that we're losing. That's not the at-risk people. That's not the people that would normally have died from this virus. That's just the young people out there. This doesn't include all the overdose deaths that have occurred this year. If we include them into the total, we're somewhere around 500 deaths here in the state of Alaska so far this year from suicides and from overdoses. Yet these numbers are, if 200 people plus people dying from COVID locks down our entire state, shouldn't they have locked down our entire state a long time ago from overdoses and suicide deaths? I mean, get real. Come on. If people's lives are so important, we should have been in lockdown years and years and years ago. One of our group is going to go take a quick look down the street, go see exactly what's going on. We were told that APD is already sitting down there. They may have things blocked off. They're just going to go and make sure that everything is wide open. Kind of ridiculous what's going on here in our state.
Report actualities, not plans. Get it? Report actualities, not plans.
If it's going to work, we got to keep it quiet.
I know. I wish you could be here too. This was not to show a force. This is just to let people know that Alaskans aren't putting up with this playing down. We're not looking to cause problems. We're just looking to let the people know that Alaskans aren't taking this laying down.
I'm going to go warm up and see what happens when we get back.
I know he means well.
That's what I'm talking about. I just feel like people aren't going to take it seriously.
I guess I'm getting in trouble. I gotta watch what I say. I know we're not breaking any laws. We haven't broken any laws. At our first destination at Austin Quinn-Davidson's location there, the local residents were breaking the laws. The ones that live in that neighborhood, jumping in front of the vehicles, making them stop dead in their tracks or hit them. Sitting there recording our license plates as we're driving by, sticking their arms out in front of our vehicles. They were the ones that were actually breaking the law. Hell, we caught them screwing buck naked on the side of the road. That's how much our APD cares about what goes on in our state, how much our mayor and assembly care about our state. They can drop their drawers, like you said, drop a deuce, pee out there in the middle of the open street, screwing on the sidewalks, and they don't care. We've got pictures of it. We've seen it happening all summer long. We've seen it just never nonstop. I interviewed one of the homeless sitting on the side of the road Christmas Day that lives out in my neighborhood area, out by the Walmart, and the day before Christmas, and asked him how he was doing. He goes, so far I've gotten 7 Happy Meals from McDonald's. I've received $130 in cash. I have 3 unopened presents that are over there in my pile. And I've only been here for the last hour and a half. And that was during one of my interviews with somebody on the day before Christmas that was panhandling on the corner of the Walmart there out there in the valley. Oh, almost had a bumper to bumper there. Culture canceled. Facebook's had me in a lockdown now for months. They finally released me about 2 weeks ago. Now that elections are over with, they finally opened back up the reach on my page. My posts are actually reaching thousands again instead of less than a couple hundred. Videos like this will probably reach a couple thousand, if not more, by the time they're through, which is the way it always is when it's not election season. All right, I'm tired of this. Hurry up and wait. We're ready to go, ready to rock and roll. Agreed. When you back off is what they want you to do. They want you to run and hide.
What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. That's why they keep calling us names.
Oh, you're all live still.
I've been live since the beginning.
Did you see the popos?
The ones that turn again there?
They went over to some residents over there. Yeah. Did you see them?
No.
I seen 3 of them outside the headquarters, right? Downtown. Because they need a skyscraper, right?
They do.
Of course. But if you violate constitutional rights or specific statutes, they're just going to throw your case in the garbage can. Hey, we asked for public records? No, ain't happening. Sheer tyranny, man. I'd like to go Christmas caroling.
All right, looks like we might be heading out here now. All right, heading to destination number 2. Supposedly undercovers and APD are already sitting out here. We're heading to the next assembly member's household that loves to let us all know that we are racist if we don't believe in their agenda. He is the one that called the preacher that the Jewish preacher basically compared him to the Jewish Holocaust, and they apologized the next day, if you want to call it that. And if any of you guys know exactly who I'm talking, there it goes, reconnected again. Sorry about the drop in a feed there. Weak field, weak connection out here. Boundary Road, yes, the tree clearing that they had to spend, what, $6 million on to employ 6 people? Maybe a half a dozen people? I'm about midway in this caravan right now. I've got another half a dozen people that are behind me. We've had a few more that showed up at the location there, found out what we're doing, and now joined us. That live in the neighborhood. They absolutely love the fact that we're going out and letting the assembly and everybody out there know how we feel about what they are doing. Doing our best to make sure that we don't break any laws. We're destination number 2 because we're now here. Assembly member Chris Constant is the household that we're going and driving right on by right now to come and say hello and let him know that Alaskans are not laying down for these draconian mandates that they have. Hopefully we're all heading in the right direction. I have no idea. I'm just playing follow the leader here. This is a very much a peaceful protest. We're Alaskans standing up for Alaskans. We're sorry we did not announce this, but you can already see what happens when we tried to keep this a private event. APD was called in. They're sitting at all the different locations out there, wanting to make sure that we don't come out and do what we are doing right now. We're coming out to let Chris Constant, Assemblyman Chris Constant, know how we feel about the Draconian Socialistic Dictator mandates that him and acting Quinn-Davidson have imposed upon our great city of Alaska. Something tells me we may be really close to that person's house if we have not already just passed it. We will be doing a couple of loops around here in the neighborhood. And again, this is a peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Alaskans letting Alaskans know we are not here. Let the mayor, let the assembly members know that we're tired of these draconian, unscientific mandates that they keep passing upon us in our city. Mayor coming out today and saying, oh, we're going to let you open up at 25% capacity. Coming around for one more pass. Hope Chris Constant's getting a nice little earful tonight. Very peaceful protest. People driving around circles, just letting them know how we feel about these draconian, socialistic dictatorship lockdowns, unscientifically proven nothing to us why they keep happening. I'm sure good old Austin Quinn-Davidson's just absolutely loving this tonight, knowing how we Alaskans feel, how the socialistic dictator Chris Constant feels. All right, looks like that was the last go-around for them out here. I'm going to go see where the group may have gone. Oh, nope, take that back. Here they come one more time.
Roll down the window.
So, Assemblyman Chris Constant, I hope you are appreciating the love and support you are receiving tonight from your constituents as they are driving by, letting you know how they feel about these draconian mandates, unscientifically proven lockdowns that you have done, destroying Alaska businesses and livelihoods in the state of Alaska. Oh, that's where they all turned off at. Let's see if I can get lucky enough to catch them on the flip side here. Thank you all for liking and sharing on this video. We're out tonight driving around, letting our socialist dictator, socialist dictator, and anarchist, whatever you want to call these people that run our mayor and assembly in Anchorage. Your colorful word is just as good as the one that I would want to use. I'm in a neighborhood that I'm lost in. Watch, I'm doing circles. Ha ha! Completely lost our group. Saw them there for a second. They up and disappeared on me. Alright, heading back out towards the highway here. I do appreciate everybody that has been sticking with us throughout the night. Again, we went and visited acting mayor Austin Quinn-Davidson and her household earlier. And now we went and visited Assemblyman Chris Constant's household. Ah, looks like I found the group again. That's what happens when you make a wrong turn. I should have just stayed behind them. I have no idea if there's another destination tonight. I am going to keep this rolling for one more time as we go right on through here. Like I said, group of a dozen of us or more, we all got into together, came out, met up, been driving around to the different assembly and mayor's locations here tonight. Uh-oh, go! Now heading back out onto the highway here. I think that was the last destination for the night, but don't quote me on that. We went and visited the Dictator Socialist acting Mayor Quinn-Davidson's household first. We just got done visiting the second socialist dictator who likes to call Alaskans racist if you don't believe his agenda. He even called a Jewish priest a racist and compared him to the Jewish Holocaust and had no heartache over it. At the time, the ex-mayor Berkowitz was sitting in the chambers when this happened, and he was completely silent about the Jewish remarks to the Holocaust that were made. Completely sickening, completely disgusting, yet he still did it. If you haven't gone to my website yet, go to my website, Politadick.com. Click that donate button. Your proceeds is what's helping make these type of events happen. It makes sure that I have the gas money necessary to be able to drive on in and be able to live stream when these things, when they happen. Thanks to generous donations, Politadick keeps on growing from websites to cameras to video equipment to studios. Microphones, sound systems, all being put in and built and into place. We appreciate all of your support. Help us continue to keep growing. I mean, it's really sad when you see downtown with signs like that, available now all over the place. Please rent me, space available. You can make me a quick phone call here. Are we heading anywhere else, or are we done for the evening? Okay. All right. That sounds good. I will see you there here in just a little bit then. All right. Bye. All right. Yep. Just confirmed it. That was the last location. Assemblyman Chris Constant's the biggest racist that we have on the assembly. You know, the one that likes to call everybody that doesn't agree with his agenda a racist. We are done for the evening, so I am going to sign off here. Please do not forget to like and share. Go to my website, Politadick.com. click that donate button. Every cent goes right back into making sure that I can be out here to do more of these live feeds. We are going to meet up one more time here at another destination that I was just informed about. But this is just nothing more than to thank everybody that came out tonight and did the drive around with us. Again, this was a private event. This was not anything that was advertised. Nobody was to know about it, but somebody leaked it to APD. Somebody leaked it to the mayor. Somebody leaked it to the assembly out there that we were coming out tonight. So that just tells us that we have a lot of Karens out there in the world that don't care about people's First Amendment rights, don't care about how many people have lost their businesses, don't care how many children are starving in Alaska right now. They don't care how many people are losing their homes. They don't care how many people are losing their vehicles. They don't care how many businesses get shut down. All they care about is making sure that their paychecks don't get affected by what we're doing. In other words, they work for the union, 60,000 strong, or they work directly for government, which also happens to be our union, 60,000 strong. They work for the school districts. They work for the different facilities out there that would love to see these draconian mandates continue to be locked down, don't want to get things reopened back up. The more people that they run out of business, the more the big corporations take over, the less us little people matter to any of them. Please like, share. Thank you all for paying attention and being here tonight. I love you all. True Alaskan spirit. Have a great evening.